Russian soprano Anna Netrebko was removed from the Met Opera, Berlin State Opera, over refusal to denounce Putin. Man, so this is wild because you even got artists getting canceled over all that's going on overseas right now. So what are your thoughts on this?
All right, so as usual, the disclaimer: if you are an emotional person and you're just going to react emotionally, and you're not going to watch the whole video.
Yeah.
This video is probably not for you. This audio is probably not for you. Mm-hmm. All right, so I'm going to go through the whole thing here. Multiple things can be true at the same time. Mm-hmm. All right? Mm-hmm. Let's all come to that foundation. Yeah. Multiple things can be true at the same time. The first one can be that there are innocent people dying in Ukraine. Mm-hmm. And we pray for that situation, pray for those people that, they didn't have anything to do with whatever Putin thought and President of Ukraine thought and all that. Like, they just wanted to live their lives. Right. Maybe, I don't know what they were doing. I don't know. So I feel for those people. Right. That aspect is wrong, mm-hmm. right? Then there's another aspect we have to consider of why would I all of a sudden trust everything that the Western media is telling me?
Right.
As we've been pointing out over the last 2 years.
Yeah.
And now all of a sudden it's becoming more acceptable mm-hmm. by people who were chastising mm-hmm. everybody who was asking very valid questions of, now we can question stuff too. It's okay. We can question stuff. Like they weren't saying that when people were losing their jobs.
Right.
Because they didn't want to, they asked for a little bit more research and more time before they had to take a shot before they lost their job. So it's kind of, it's this thing where, like, I'm not saying that narrative is not true.
Right.
I'm just saying if there's a coordinated attack from big tech, like we've seen them do with even smaller opponents, like a Parler, for instance, the social media app Parler. Mm-hmm. It was a coordinated attack. Mm-hmm. And everybody's kind of, even if you don't use it, like I don't use it, but even if you don't use it, that should still concern you.
Right, 100%.
Like,
100%.
These are not independent companies. Like, let's stop playing around and saying they're independent companies. They're not.
Right.
They are pseudo governments, and they a lot of times act in line with the government. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So when I hear the reports on the news, and like honestly, I get most of my news from independent people on YouTube because I trust those people more than the news corporations. Mm-hmm. But I'm hearing this, and it says refusal to denounce mm-hmm. Putin. So she might have said something like, "Look, I feel for the people in XYZ area, but as far as there's things that people are saying about NATO expansion that mm-hmm. were concerning, and I don't know everything in that. Mm-hmm. Again, because the overarching idea is that information, like if information is considered too dangerous for the populace, then it's just removed.
Right.
And if that keeps happening, well, of course, I'm going to question if this narrative is true because 100%. You guys keep removing information.
100%.
Why would I trust everything you have to say?
Of course.
So look, companies can do what they want mm-hmm. in one hand, like we definitely do. Mm-hmm. And there's people who don't like some of the things that we stand for because obviously, like, as the owner of the company, I'm a Christian, so mm-hmm. there's a lot of things that people will try to twist mm-hmm. that we do or say and try to make it into something that's malicious when really, hey, I just disagree with this point of view here. Right. Like, we can talk about it, mm-hmm. But that can be twisted. So mm-hmm. I don't know exactly what was said, and nor do I trust the stories coming from the media mm-hmm. of exactly what was said. Mm-hmm. I would want to hear directly from her on like her thoughts, and I don't think that's going to happen now because they're saying that they're not letting people in Russia use a lot of services. Mm-hmm. So these are also people, they're not being killed in large numbers like the Ukrainian people. Like, again, multiple things can be true at the same time.
Correct.
but they are having services that could very well be connected to their livelihood removed.
Yeah.
So this could be, I think PayPal said they were shutting off services. So we have PayPal as a payment processor for a lot of things. And I'm just trying to imagine, hey, if that goes off overnight and then all the other companies, like I said, they have coordinated attacks. So it would not just be PayPal. It'd be Stripe too, because people say they want diversity, but it's really they just want a bunch of different skin colors that think the same. Right. So look, man, I would not do that. I would let her speak fully about it and have a hard discussion about it. I'm now, if she were saying things such as, these innocent people should die. Right. That would be problematic. Yeah. But by the way, who are these Western countries to look at anybody and say that you're killing innocent people? Come on, man. Now, I'm not gonna have that full discussion here right now. But come on, man. Seriously, y'all, you're playing yourselves if you think that anybody objectively looking at the amount of people who are murdered in various situations in Western countries, come on, man. This self-righteousness, it's something that the Bible talks about. It's very blinding, and it's when you can see it. It's not like you're looking your nose down on the people, but it's just like, yo, we have to wake up to that. We kill millions of people, and we don't bat an eye about it. In fact, we celebrate it. So it's wild.
So I got to ask you this. Did you see the video of the Ukrainian reporter reporting all of the, mass killings that were happening in Ukraine? And then behind him were several supposed dead bodies, dead bodies.
No, I thought that was something else. I saw it, but I thought it was a protest and people were trying to use the clip for something else.
Possibly. I don't know. But the clip showed people moving in the background.
Yeah, I think it was a protest and people were using the clip for something that wasn't.
Okay. So essentially what you're saying, because that part I didn't know. So it was essentially they were intentionally doing that to protest against it. Okay. Well, it was definitely repurposed in different ways. Yeah.
That's why
stuff like that.
Can't trust the media. I don't trust media.
100%. And well, let me ask you this, because you're really great at independent thought, but for those who have not built that habit, for those who are still exposing themselves to information that will help them form independent thought, what do you, for one, what do you recommend where do you recommend that they start? And for two, I know we're not a, officially an advice giving channel as it relates to finances or politics or anything like that, but any good sources or channels YouTube wise that might be just good in terms of objective thinking and things like that. What are your thoughts on
that? Where would I start?
Yeah, where would you start?
First, the only place you start, people might not like to hear this, but just consider it for a second. The reverence of God is the beginning of wisdom. The beginning of wisdom. So if you're not going to get your wisdom from the source, you're going to try to piece it together with human reasoning. Wow. And you're going to end up at your own flawed conclusion from it. So that's where you start. Okay. The places that I go, I mean, honestly, the only unbiased, this is surprising. This is what's surprising to me. The only unbiased source of news that I found is actually Forbes.
Really?
Forbes just plays the clips of what people say, and they just let it roll. Okay. So they put any side on there, and they're like, all right, this is what they said.
This is what it is.
Just out there. If you guys don't like it, I didn't spit it. They don't have, it's not reporting on it. Right. It's literally just, here's what this person said. Wow. And we're not going to spin it at all. Yeah. So Forbes is the only one that's actually just, hey, here's what happened. Pretty much every other one's going to have some sort of bias. That doesn't mean that they're wrong in some of their biases. Right. but they're gonna have a bias.
Yeah.
Like at the very least, here's what I'll say: be aware of the bias of the channel that you're watching.
That's good.
Like if you think that they're just objective news, come on.
Yeah,
you're lying to yourself.
right.
So that is what I'll say about it. Again, we absolutely pray for the people who are suffering in these situations, and pray for peace. But I don't think that it can just be so like if this person does not say exactly what we tell them to say, like even if they ask more questions, because it's reminding me of COVID.
Right.
Even if you ask any other questions, then we will literally try to ruin your life.
Silence you.
I don't think they were trying to kill people who were saying that for COVID. It's like in this situation, I can see how it's a little bit different. Like this is an actual war, but it's reminding me of it. The information is reminding me of it. So we can also talk about how, news didn't really cover, because I'm thinking of like internment camps and like all that stuff. Like, no, they're not killing you in an internment camp, but I mean, it's pretty bad. Like, that's where they're leading to. And other countries, which I'm not going to name right now, definitely had internment camps that didn't get heavy press coverage.
Yeah, wow.
So, yeah.
Yeah, good stuff.